It's good to see all of you here today, and it's good to be here. It's good. People ask me all the time, like, they say, oh my God, it's good to see you. I say, it's good to be seen. So, and people keep asking me, wherever I go, how did it feel? And I think that's a very, very good question. Is this too loud? No. I think that's a very good question, because when something like what happened to me happens, people just don't, they just want facts. People don't just want the facts, I should say, when that happens. They want to know what it does to someone whose whole life has been spent telling the truth. The honest answer I give is it's complicated. Or as I say, when you ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, I don't know at this point. And that's the honest answer. At first, it felt unreal, like something that happens somewhere else to someone else. And then it felt heavy. And every day it feels different. It's not just because it happened to me, but because I knew what it meant, what else could happen here. Since then, something else has happened. People stop me in the airports. They stop me on the streets, even in restaurants, usually women, and then they come up to me quietly and say, I was in the airport yesterday. A woman asked me as I got out of the security line, she goes, I'm sorry, I hate to bother you. And she said, can I give you a hug? And I was like, okay. And then I went to the lounge to do my show and wait for the airport, and this woman said, hey, I don't want to intrude, but can I hug you? And at first, I didn't know what to make of it, and then I understood that they weren't just worried about me, that they were worried about themselves, they were worried about their sons, they were worried about their daughters, their husbands, their mothers, people who go to work every day just to do their jobs, and they assume that in America, they are safe. So that's what really hit me the hardest, the idea that the state can decide on any given day that the truth is inconvenient, that the person telling it is the problem. Imagine that. Imagine a government that can make up stories, present lies as facts, and then use that to take your freedom. I'm going to say that again, just in case you didn't get it. Imagine a government that can make up stories, present lies as facts, and then use that to take your freedom. We're taught that doesn't happen in America, but it does happen, and it did. And the world is watching right now. I've been in rooms this week with journalists from traditional media, mostly independent journalists and creators from all over the globe. People who have spent their lives watching colleagues harassed, detained, even killed for doing their jobs. Again, that's not supposed to happen in America, but this is who we are now. In the Philippines, Maria Ressa has faced relentless legal attacks and threats because she refused to stop reporting on corruption. In Russia, journalists are jailed or forced into exile for asking wrong questions. And Anna Politkovskaya was murdered in her own country for reporting the truth. Jamal Khashoggi, as you guys know, murdered in Saudi Arabia. And across Syria, Mexico, and many other places, reporters risk death just for documenting reality. For years, these journalists looked at America and said, at least there's one place where power is accountable, where journalists are safe, where questions are allowed. Now they're watching us differently right now. And that's the part that should make every one of you stop and listen, because any one of you could be in the position that I'm in or in similar positions as those journalists that I mentioned. Because the First Amendment isn't decoration. It's the floor everything else stands on. The press isn't the star of the Constitution, it's the foundation of the Constitution. If you weaken it, everything else starts to unravel. Voting rights unravel, civil rights unravel, due process unravels, because if no one is allowed to tell the truth about power, power stops answering to anyone. Does that sound familiar? Defying federal judges. Power thinks it can do anything with impunity. And as I was writing this last night, I was like, what does that mean when I say that this is the bedrock, that the First Amendment, freedom of the press, is a bedrock of our democracy? And I started to think about it, like when you're at a restaurant and you're at a table and then one leg is off, you know what I mean? And so when you lean on it, does this and then it makes noise, right? So it feels off. That's what it's like when the First Amendment isn't sturdy. If it's not standing, everything else, every other right, every other freedom starts to unravel. And in this country, that unraveling often starts small, words first, rhetoric. And as a journalist, I like to give facts, because you'll know this, calling reporters fake news, news organizations, fake news, calling us the enemies of the people, telling women journalists to smile more, calling women journalists pigs. At first it feels ridiculous. It's even numbing. It's like, you ever get a sting and then it's like, it's like a numbing cream. It's shocking enough. It's shocking enough to distract us or distract you from the pain, but the damage is done before you realize it. And if you let that continue, it's going to escalate if you let them continue to get away with it. Words turn into threats. Threats turn into arrests. Threats turn into real consequences. That's what happened to me. That's how creeping authoritarianism starts. That's how democracy starts to wobble, like that table in a restaurant. Until suddenly, the thing you took for granted, a free press, a government accountable to the people, it feels fragile. I have spent my life as a journalist. I don't march, I don't chant, I don't organize protests. I ask questions. I verify facts. I tell people what I see. That's the job. And for a long time, we believed that this job was protected. Not because journalists are special, but because the First Amendment is supposed to be sacred. But lately, that protection is being tested. Facts are treated like opinions. Opinions are treated like weapons. Journalists are treated like enemies. And suddenly, the line between reporting and threatening is dangerously thin. I want everybody in this room to hear this. Whether you come from legacy newsrooms, the papers, the networks, the outlets that have been around for decades, or you're an independent journalist or creator, a podcaster, a local reporter building your own platform, your work matters. All of it matters. Because you're the ones who are recording what others might look away from. You're the closest to the ground, you independent folks. There are no gatekeepers telling you how you should present something, what you should say, what you can't say, who you should interview. Don't tick off this person. We don't want to lose access for our morning show. You don't have to do that. Because the most dangerous thing to any authority isn't protest. It isn't dissent. I'm always looking over my shoulders lately. Who is that back there? Got to keep your head on a swivel, man. Witness makes lies expensive. Witness makes abuse visible. Witness holds power accountable. And when witnesses are punished, democracy itself starts to wobble. I've seen it before in other countries. Governments lie, journalists are arrested, stories disappear. For years, the world pointed to America and said, that is a place where power answers questions. Look at what happens to the corrupt politicians in our country. They're driven away from office. Nixon. Usually there's accountability. This is a place where journalists are safe. Now some are asking, is that still true? So look, this isn't about me. It's about principle. If a journalist can be treated as a threat in America, anyone can be treated as a threat in America. And if anyone can be treated that way, no right is safe. So let me just tell you another story here. I have been in courtrooms. I have watched people testify. I've walked streets reporting disasters. I've been to wars, riots, and in every one of those moments, the press matters. Because if the press disappears, so does accountability. Who are they going to answer to? And yet last week in this country, the press was punished, arrested, silenced. And suddenly it wasn't theory anymore. It wasn't abstract. It was here, real, visible in the headlines, and people noticed. People in airports, people on the streets, in restaurants, they come up to me quietly and they said, "We're angry. We're concerned. We are scared, not just for you, but for all of us." That's what democracy looks like when it is threatened. People are watching, people are feeling it, and they are realizing the fragility of the system that they assumed was permanent. We live in a moment where authoritarianism creeps very slowly, and then it jumps suddenly. You know, it's something, oh, it's very slow, and then boom, it's here, and you're like, well, how did that happen? Well, one reason is because we've gotten too comfortable. Comfort is a poison. People are afraid to sacrifice things in this environment, and I understand, but, amen, but I look back to the people who fought for our civil rights through the 60s and beyond. That's what a democracy looks like when it is threatened. People are watching, people are feeling it, and they're realizing the fragility of the system they assumed was permanent. We live in a moment where authoritarianism creeps slowly and then it jumps suddenly, right? It starts with the words, the insults, the tweets, then threats, then action. And we're not paying attention. If we're not paying attention, the whole experiment of a more perfect union, a government accountable to the people, can unravel before our very eyes. And yet is the word. Yet, democracy isn't over. It's not over because people in this room, independent journalists, streamers, legacy media, creators, reporters everywhere, refuse to look away, and you have to continue to do it. You refuse to stop asking questions. You refuse to let lies go unchallenged. The First Amendment isn't just words on paper. It is a call to attention. It is a refusal to let injustice become ordinary. So keep asking, keep recording, keep telling the truth, because witness matters, truth matters, freedom depends on it. And remember this, the most dangerous thing to any authority is someone who refuses to look away. That is the Baldwin line that we need, and I'm talking about James Baldwin, that we need to carry with us tonight, or today, excuse me. I wrote it last night. That is the thing that protects the rest of us, and the thing that keeps the promise of this country alive. So democracy isn't finished. It's not over yet. But it can be if we let it go. And it's up to all of us, independent journalists, legacy journalists, creators, lawmakers, citizens, to make sure that it doesn't. And here's the line that I want you to remember and I want you to walk out of this room with. They can threaten us. They can try to silence us. They can arrest us. But they cannot take away the witness, the truth, or the courage to speak it. And as long as we keep speaking, democracy is still alive. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.